Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anthony if you're new here. Ever since I posted my 100-day update, I've been getting questions about juicing left and right, so I just figured I should just go ahead and make a video concerning juicing and how to do it. So this video will give you a broad idea of what juicing is and what to kind of expect. So we have the Nama J2 juicer, the vertical juicer. We have the Omega juicer, what I started out with, the horizontal juicer. And then we also have a Vitamix, a blender. So these are the three equipments or tools that I'm going to be using to be making the juice today. We're going to make the green juice in the Nama because I think it'll be easier to do the green juice in that. The green juice will probably be a little harder to do in this because it has a small hole and then I'll be stuffing kale in here and it's going to take a long time. Do the hardest one in the Nama just because it's easier. It has a wider opening so I could just stuff it in and get that going. I believe the Nama is the most expensive one here. The Omega might be definitely next. They're probably close, but don't quote me on that. Just make sure to look it up. I do think that all these are pretty close in price. The Vitamix are usually pricey as well, so all these might actually be close in price. The reason why people choose juicers over blenders is because whenever you're juicing in a blender, because of the high speeds, apparently it breaks down the enzymes in the juices and in the fruits. You won't get as much juice out of it because it doesn't really dry the pulp. So you'll probably get less juice with the blender because of the high speed. It gets too hot. The enzymes from the fruits and the veggies break down. Less enzymes and you probably get less juice. If you don't have anything else, it's better to juice than not to juice. This was the only option that I had, a blender, I would be blending. The reason why I would choose this one over the first one that I actually started my juice cleanse with, if you go back and look at my first video, I started out with this one before I actually upgraded to this one. Because of the small hole that this has, you had to cut everything down to like a fine size to be able to fit into this hole. And that would be time consuming. It just didn't have the space or the room to churn things out as quickly as you needed it. So you would have to be standing over it to make sure to push it down constantly to be able to get it to work. Whereas the Nama, this one, this is the size of the hole right here. You see how much bigger that is? Put your items in here and just leave and it'll just be churning. And as long as it fills up here, you're good. If you ever do have the money for it, I do think it's worth the investment. At the end of the day, you'll probably be keeping it for the rest of your life. Hopefully it lasts that long. If you guys are wondering about the shirt, how big it kind of looks on me, this was a shirt that I actually used to fit in when I was around 300 pounds. Around the beginning of my cleanse, I used to actually fit into this shirt. But now I kind of wear it as like an oversized shirt. It is actually pretty big. I need to donate some of my clothes. I have a lot of clothes that don't fit me anymore. Let's go ahead and talk about what other items you might need. You'll be needing a strainer. A strainer is important so that you can get as much pulp out of your juice as you can. I actually prefer a nut milk bag. Now you can get these off of Amazon. Basically used to strain or used to make nut milk, so you know, your almond milk, your cashew milk. You could also use it for like fruit juices and stuff. When you use the nut milk bag, you should get a smoother consistency with your juices, a lot smoother than a strainer would. If you don't have a nut milk bag, just go ahead and use a strainer. Probably just get like a little bit of more pulp, but again, it's better than nothing. Better to juice than not to juice. If you can get the nut milk bag, I would say get the nut milk bag. Whereas the strainer, you just pour it in and it just goes through, right? The nut milk bag, you're gonna have to pour it in, right? Squeeze it. So it does require a little bit more work, but I think it's worth it to get that nice, smooth juice that you find at juice bars. You're gonna need some mason jars. You can get these from Target. You should definitely be able to get them on Amazon. 24 or 32 ounce. So you're gonna need those to store your juices. Don't necessarily have to stick to the 32 ounce. They do have bigger ones. They might have one they do sell huge ass ones. I've only used this maybe like once or twice. Get a large one if you just want to juice a really large amount of juice. So as far as washing your fruits and veggies, you could just really use salt and water. I personally only use salt and water. I sometimes use lemon, salt, and water. Sometimes I use apple cider vinegar. I haven't really found the need to like buy the veggie washes and all that stuff. So what I'll do is take a lemon, squeeze the lemon. Sometimes I'll use a whole lemon, and then salt, and then I'll just use water. And I'll use this solution to wash the kale, I'll use it to wash the apples, the cucumbers, just anything that I'm not gonna be cutting off the skin. So I'm gonna go ahead and prep everything. I'm gonna wash everything and try and cut everything down. And then I'm gonna come back and then we're gonna juice and then we're gonna talk more about juicing and wrap it up.
Ooh, eyes I can see you keeping me wavy. You are made of dreams.
Just finished with the prep. Here we have pineapples, apples, cucumbers, kale, and celery. I'm gonna be using the nama for this just because of the kale and the cucumbers and certain things in here that I feel as if would be harder for the omega to handle, and it'll probably take a longer time just because there's so much more. The watermelon, I'm gonna be using the omega. Cut it into tiny ass pieces just for it to fit into the shoot. The oranges, I'm gonna go ahead and reserve that for the blender. I'd like to encourage you guys to always try and see if you can buy organic, and make sure that your fruits have seeds in them. They're starting to make fruits without seeds, like these don't really have seeds, they're seedless, but they're supposed to have seeds, right? So when you can, try and get seeded, and when you can, try and get organic. If you can't get either or, then you just gotta do what you gotta do. I actually went my entire cleanse using seedless watermelons. I didn't know any better, so that's why I'm informing you guys right now. The more I know, the more you guys get to know. I actually didn't know any of these things when I was doing my cleanse. I didn't know really about the seedless watermelons. I didn't know to prioritize organic. I tried the best that I could, right? I did do the majority organic, but I didn't know how important it was. So I'm just letting you guys know that if you do have the option, get organic. If it's not in the budget, then don't get organic. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Smells so good. Another thing with the juice and the mason jars is you always want to fill to the top of the jar, because apparently you don't want to get oxygen inside of the jar, because then I'm assuming it's bad for the enzymes. You always want to try and see if you can fill it to the top. After you fill it to the top, you want to put this in the fridge ASAP and try and consume it within 3 days. By the 4th day, it's probably gonna start turning or start getting bad. We're gonna be moving on to the watermelon next, and I'll probably finish the rest of the juice off camera. We now have the omega, and we're gonna go ahead and do the watermelon. So now do you see why that this could be a little time consuming? I've had to cut these into small chunks. Even that, I'm having to like still go in and push it down sometimes. If this is what you have and this is all you have, then go ahead and use it. But if you do have the ability to get something that might be a little better, to where you could put a whole bunch of stuff in and get the yield that you want, then that's probably the best option, right? For the watermelon, we don't necessarily have to use the nut milk bag. We can just use a strainer just because it's so watery. There's really not much pulp to get. I still would prefer the nut milk bag, but we can use a strainer. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna use a strainer this time. It's so messy. There you go. I would normally do this over the sink. I wouldn't do it here, but I'm only doing this here just to show you guys. So there's little to no pulp, if you can see. It's not too bad. I do have a feeling that the nut milk bag probably would have gotten a little bit more. That was almost perfect. This is not completely to the top, but it's close enough. I'll probably go ahead and finish the rest of the watermelon in the nama, and then I might just add a little bit more to this one. Off to the fridge we go. Another reason why we strain or we use the nut milk bag, it's not only just about the smoothness of the juice, it's also about digestion. Think about it, right? The more pulp that your juice has, the more that your digestion has to work, right? Because there's more stuff for it to comb through. The more you can take away the insoluble fiber, then your digestion works less, and then it concentrates on healing your body. whole point of you also juicing is to give your stomach a break, is to give your body a break. So the less your body has to worry about digesting something, the more it can put towards actually healing your body. If you do have a little pulp, it's not going to kill you. If you don't strain it, it's not going to kill you, but it's all about what you're trying to get from it, right? It would make sense for you to strain it just so you can give your body that break. Next, we're going to be going to the oranges, and we're going to be using the Vitamix blender. I've actually never tried this method before. I haven't blended. I've just been using the Omega juicer, which was the horizontal juicer, and then I moved on to the normal. So I haven't really blended my juice, but that is an option. You don't necessarily have to get a juicer. You can still blend it, and as long as it's fruits and it's healthy for you, you should be able to take that down and do what you can with what you have. Now with this one as well, we should be able to use the regular strainer just because it's probably going to be more water based, but I might just use the nut milk bag. And just like that, you guys saw some orange juice. That was quick work. A lot better than the horizontal one. That looks like a smoothie. Oh. We might just have to use a nut milk bag for this one. It's like a whole ass smoothie. This is gonna take a minute. Maybe I need to blend it more. I'm gonna see if I can squeeze it out. If not, I might have to blend it more. I might have to add some water to this. Too much pulp. That's a whole lot of pulp. Finally got some juice. It's still kind of pulpy, but it's a lot better. So I'll probably fill this up a little bit more. Here's the watermelon, the orange juice, and the kale, cucumber, apple, pineapple, and celery juice. Now for some tips. Try not to over purchase. So try not to overbuy a whole bunch of stuff because you're only really gonna be having these juices for maybe like 3 days max. I used to buy a whole bunch of produce and then I'd have to juice them all, or they would go bad, but then me juicing them all, the juice would only last for 3 days. So then I have a whole bunch of juices that I either had to like drink them all at once or I'd have to throw them out. Probably gonna have to keep going to the store a couple of times if you're doing a prolonged juicing, right? You're gonna start feeling less hungry. You're probably not gonna wanna drink any juice, but it is still important to at least intake some juice because the whole point is to clean yourself out. Apparently the more juice that you drink, the more cleaner you get. It detoxifies you. So stick to more high water fruits if you want more juice. So the melons, watermelon, that's what you need to stick to if you want more juice. Also during your cleanse, you don't necessarily want to do all fruits. Make sure to mix in spinach and greens. Greens are also important. You don't just want fruits only. Make sure to take it one day at a time. Take your time with it, enjoy it, enjoy the process. Before you know it, this whole thing is gonna be over, you know? The refeed. The refeeding is super important. So after your cleanse, you don't just wanna jump into, especially after you do a long extended fast, you don't necessarily want to jump into eating whatever you want. You might wanna start out with fruits. You might wanna start out slow. You don't wanna go back to eating the junk that you were eating and then go right back to where you started from. Then all that work that you just did was for nothing, right? Imagine not eating solid food for 100 days for about 3 months, right? And then going back to just eating solid food. I don't know how I would have been able to like release that. I would have been super hard or something would have happened down there, right? So you do need to take your time. The refeeding part is just as important as the juice fast itself. Don't just do the juice fast and be patient with that, but then when it comes to refeed, you're just like rushing to just get it done. To make sure to give your body enough time to get adjusted to eating solid food again. Alright guys, so that's it. If you like this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. I just showed you how to make juice with a blender, with a horizontal juicer as well as a vertical juicer. Really no reason as to why you shouldn't be juicing. Let me know what you think about this video down below in the comment section. I'll see you guys next time.